Good morning. Happy Saturday. I know music to everyone's ears, especially to those folks that are actually off today. I'll be back in a second. Good morning. Good morning. This is Jan. I'm from New York City. I truly love helping people keep some more of their own hard earned money. Could that be you? Welcome to another Saturday coffee chat. It is a lousy, lousy weather day out. Ay, 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 ay. I was not paying attention to the weather forecast. And about 4 o'clock in the morning, well, I woke up, right? About 4 o'clock in the morning, I heard a lot of rain hitting my window pane. I said, "Why again?" Like, no. So then I thought, oh well, it'll just rain itself out, and probably by 5, 6 a.m., whatever, it'll be gone. Wrong. It is still raining up a storm. And then when I turn on the weather, I actually had the nerve to turn it on, right? I turned it on TV and they said, you may be getting rain up to a couple of inches an hour. I don't know how that happened. How are you today? I hope that this audio video, as always, finds everybody doing well. This is the perfect day to sit down with a cup of hot tea or a cup of hot cocoa or a cup of hot chocolate. It is one of those, like, oh my gosh, like those damp days, or like goes through you like damp. And as we call them around here, a dank day, DANK. I recorded a video earlier today, but it will not air till next week. And it's about what I discovered in my pantry and how I utilized it for a perfect day like this. It is just like literally like kind of day you just want to hang out with a book. I'm just saying. So let's just jump right into it. I have a few mixed bag tips that have worked for me over the years. They are money saving. A few of them have to do with going to the grocery store. There was a time that I wasn't paying too much attention to what I was spending money on in terms of fresh produce. And I found out that I was not using it up fast enough. Yeah. That happens sometimes in real life. Now, there are some things that last longer, of course, as time went on. I learned this, and you get those of fruits or vegetables that last a little bit longer than the ones that I was getting. I was overbuying. It ended up being like into a waste at some point, but then I did utilize it. Like, for example, if a banana is overly ripe, I never, ever, ever waste a banana. It goes right into the freezer. It becomes a bread or a muffin. I love, love, love banana bread. This is the time of year I start looking for banana bread. So if you don't use your fresh produce up fast enough, that is your cue to either buy less of it or just, like work with the frozen or the can. It depends on your lifestyle. You know what I'm saying? Now, the next tip has to do with allotment budget, like for example your grocery budget. Now let's say that you allow yourself to spend $150 per month per individual person in your family on groceries. That's your allowable monthly, what you could work with. Does that mean you have to spend the 150? I think there's a big misconception. That is the number that you kind of like work within. Like always, living below or within your means is a great idea. So on like a tiny scale, take that same methodology and spend less than that $150. For example, come under budget, if you will. Try not to go over budget. And what you could do when you go to the grocery store, or if you add it up on your computer at home or whatever, check with your calculator to see if it all works out. And if you shop online, it does all that math for you in your cart before you actually, ring it out. So you will know ahead of time. You'll know your subtotals ahead of time. So work within the parameters of what you can work with. Keep within your grocery budget. I have a video coming up next week about how I kept $100 below my grocery budget. That is going to show up on next Friday's stockpile chat. So check into that, make a note of it. I hope you don't miss it. Next, be a bit of a bean counter. What do I mean by a bean counter? Do you sit around counting beans? Well, that's an old expression for an accountant, I think, back in the old days. A bean counter. Example. I get a lot of value in a simple box of frozen waffles. In my case, I love frozen waffles, and they're only like less than $3 a box. So let's say that the frozen waffles, there's 10 in a box, it's pretty sizable. And let's say that there's 10 in a box, it costs me $3. It's usually less than three, just for the record. Okay. But we're just going to use three for math's sake. It's only 30 cents a waffle. So let's say I toast up, which is so easy to do, no one can complain. Toasting up a waffle is like toasting a waffle. Like, really? How easy is that? So what I do is I'll toast up my waffle, and I like to dust, like just a little bit of a dusting, as if it's like a little bit of a snowstorm of powdered sugar on top of it. It gives it sort of a festival feel. I love it. And it's just a, very like light, faintly sweet taste. And it's nice and warm. You could put a little, pat of butter with that. You don't need to have ooey gooey jellies, jams, or syrups. Don't get me wrong, I like those too. But this is a nice, gentle way. And also, if you're craving, say it's like mid afternoon, you're craving that little something, but you don't want it to interfere with your main meal at dinner time, pop one of those in the toaster for a couple of minutes. My goodness gracious, at like 30 cents. So to me, being a bean counter means that I will take the price of something. I will take that unit price, I will divide it up by the amount of servings, and I will arrive at what it's costing me per serving. Just saying for 30 cents, really? And by the way, speaking of powdered sugar, don't fret if you run out of powdered sugar. I discovered this years ago. It's such a joke. It's so easy. Just take your regular confectionery sugar and you could pulverize it in your blender. Now, some people might put a pinch, and let me say if I'm getting this right, a pinch of cornstarch. I never had to do it. I just make it just like that, just pulverize and just shake it over my item. It works. Hello, on the cheap. Next, in the grocery store, check out Manager's Special. We were talking about the fresh produce before. Check out some Manager's Specials, not just, let's say, on meat, but sometimes you might get a pretty good deal. For example, I got a pretty good deal not long ago on some cut up bell peppers, but I use them right away. So either if you blanch them, freeze them, put them away, just the trick is to use them right away. This rain is coming down even heavier. I'm thinking of my grandkids going off to school. Oh, poor kids. Remember back in the old days when like our parents would tell us that they went to school in about 25 feet of snow, and and as they got older, the snow grew taller. I remember that quite vividly. So I don't like sharing that kind of story. If it didn't really happen that way, like, okay, when I went to school, the diocese would close down the schools after I think 4 inches. I think 4 inches was the call. If it was 4 inches or more, the Archdiocese of New York would shut the schools down. So I can't relay this story and say, well, back in my day, there was 25 feet of snow going to school. I can't relay that story. That wouldn't be true. All right. So the next thing to do, and I find that this is really a budget stretcher. You know what? The answer to a lot of things is hiding where? Right in our own little spice rack, our seasoning rack, our spice rack. If you want to change the flavor of something, be a little more experimental with flavors, with spices. Now, on a completely different note, And what I did was I put a little bit of vanilla extract in my coffee the other day. It with a little cinnamon. It was quite good. It was really good. Of course, I put some lightener in there. I love the taste of vanilla. I love the warm, seasony feel of cinnamon. That like warm feel. I can have cinnamon all year long on stuff. It's like it's just such a comforter. I guess it reminds me kind of sort of the holidays all year long. Oh, also a pinch of nutmeg does a world of good. Like if you want something to taste more like a donut, you can put a pinch of nutmeg in your batter or your recipes. Does anybody make donuts from scratch at home? Back in the old days, my mom used to take a can of those biscuit type thing and she would like pop a hole in it or something, and then she would just throw it in the skillet. She would have a little bit of oil, a couple of turns, doesn't have to be deep, a couple of turns. You pop them in and it cooked so fast, and then she would roll it in cinnamon sugar. It was delish. Just saying, just saying. You don't have to have a lot of money to have a lot of yummy. You know what I mean? Yummy, yummy works. So it's going to be a few more tips and grab another cup or take another sip. Boy, I'm telling this weather is just terrible here. I'm glad I'm having my morning coffee with you on this. It's really Friday in real time for me, but when you're listening to this, you'll be hearing it on Saturday. So it's possible when we're listening to it on actual Saturday, it might be bright and 65 degrees out. That's the good game plan. I look forward to that instead of the way it is right now. It's really, really bad out right now. So let's say that like you're kind of like stuck home on a weekend due to inclement weather. You might be a little bored with some of the stuff on, TV. Some people still watch actual TV, whatever. Did you ever consider listening to an audiobook? I actually have not ever listened to an audiobook. But people say to me, why don't you make an audiobook? Well, actually, it's a very kind comment. Thank you so much. This is a thought to think about. But I have to get more familiar with that. But let's switch gears a little bit. How about considering, like, if you're bored or you have a serious point of interest on something, they offer like online a lot of free e-courses, but be careful. A lot of things start off introductorily as free. So you got to read, the fine print and say, and like discipline yourself and say, yeah, I just want the free part. And then just to, put your toe in the water, whatever that subject is. Or even without doing that, just take your favorite subject matter and look it up online, like for entertainment and for learning purposes. And pretty much you probably could find a whole bunch of information, even right here on this very platform. So that's doing something a little differently, perhaps for you. I don't know. Maybe yes, right? Or just simply exercise. Great day to do your stretches and exercising and all the good stuff. Take that walk. It's if you're not in a deluge like I'm in right now. If you have that wonderful brisk fall weather going on, take good advantage of that. And just walk around your property or your block, or you don't have to go far. You could circle your block a few times, kind of thing. So, have a little fun with that. Another thing that I do to save money is honestly, I don't buy soda. I don't care for soda anymore. It's not healthy. And as it turns out, it's not healthy for your health, and it's definitely not healthy for your wallet. So for me, this is a win win. I personally have no problem just buying a couple of bottles of seltzer or cans for the month. And I don't drink them every day. There was a time I was like really drinking like way too much seltzer. No, 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 no. So even that could be a bit much. So I don't kind of like cut it down. It's like a couple of times a week. But seltzer is markedly less expensive than the sugary soda. If you want a little flavor, they do have flavored seltzers, or you could just simply add your own fruit flavor to it. It's not a big, not a big deal. So just saying. Another project to consider, it's a savings challenge, okay? So let's say it's the weekend, like and you're sitting down with like some goals in your mind, like, wait a minute, I want to save some more money. Why don't you try this project or this challenge? Make it a point every single week, this upcoming brand new month, to save on purpose whether digitally or whether it's green in your hand or whatever, or in your checking account, whatever. Save, let's say, X number of dollars. I'm going to call it $25. $25, it seems very painless, and it actually kind of is if you're really careful about it. But multiply that 25 bucks by 4 weeks. You got yourself an entire month, which means maybe 4 to 5 weeks. Some months are longer than the other month. Could be either 100 or 125 bucks in your savings. Add it to your savings, or to, let's say, a name it and claim it. It's a great time to start really accelerating gifting money funds. That may be a good ticket to do just that. I'm just saying, just saying. If you have extra time over this weekend, why don't you do a little bit of price comparing just for the fun of it? Things that you're considering making purchases of. It's so much easier today than back in the old days when we had to do every single price thing on foot or make phone calls. All you have to do here is tap, tap, tap. I cannot believe how this rain is coming down. Wow. I don't know if you could hear it, but wow, it's a lot. It's like really a lot. So, okay. Okay, avoid, again, as I mentioned, avoid fresh produce waste. In other words, also avoid do-over, leftover food waste. Now, some people don't like leftovers. To me, they are a welcome friend. They are a future meal. They could be recreated into a completely different meal. And I call that savings. And I also call that maximizing my budget. Hello. And I don't want to give all the goods away on that video coming up next week, but that was one of the methods that I used to save, and I mean literally be $100, even during these times, below my grocery allotment, my grocery budget. Just because you allot for money doesn't mean you have to spend up to that number plus some. Keep within. And I kept well below, like $100 below. So let me see. Oh, save all your gift cards. If you get like Amazon gift cards, you never know when you're gonna have a rainy day month. How ironic that I said it on this very rainy day. But no, honestly, if you have like a rainy day month where like funds are low and the bills got higher for some reason that month, whatever, you have that money. You could like have things delivered from like Amazon Fresh, and you could use your gift card to do that. I say that's money in your pocket. So don't be so quick or hasty to spend those gift cards. I know the temptation could be great. I know the temptation could be there. It's just a thought. And also take advantage of the so-called sales, those special sales days that are coming up. I'm not quite sure, but that's up to the individual. Hey, I want to thank you for spending some coffee time with me this Saturday. And as always, I wish everybody an amazing upcoming weekend this weekend. Take advantage of it. Just get some rest. Sometimes people just need to just kick back, enjoy your weekend, and have a great, great day. Don't forget to click like, share, and subscribe to this channel.